Hey y'all, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. On the evening of August 10th, 2024, D23 hosted its Parks and Experiences Showcase. This video has all the highlights you need to know. If you want links for everything we're talking about, I've cross-linked each item to its relevant Disney Parks blog post over on my Ko-fi blog. And in general, if you just want a quick bullet point list, check out that Ko-fi blog post. For this video, I'm going to try to be very clear about what was announced and what we know versus what is speculation and what we don't yet know. We'll start with factual announcements, and then we'll loop back to some items to ask some questions and ponder what the future may hold. We are going to move pretty fast, so feel free to adjust the YouTube playback speed in your YouTube player settings and refer to the timestamps in the description below. Let's begin with the announcements. In Fortnite news, Disney villains, The Incredibles, and new Star Wars characters and items are coming. Over at both Hong Kong Disneyland and Shanghai Disney Resort, these are getting a new Spider-Man attraction. And the new nighttime spectacular at Tokyo Disneyland, Reach for the Stars, begins on September 20th, 2024. Over at Disneyland Paris, they're getting a new nighttime spectacular in January 2025 that will have projections on the castle and Main Street. World of Frozen is set to open in 2026. And the biggest news is Pride Lands, a new Lion King immersive themed area, is coming to Disney Adventure World. The main feature appears to be a log flume ride. The concept art clearly includes characters from the recent live-action version of The Lion King, but the blog post celebrates the 30th anniversary. Following the presentation, several outlets seem to be confirming that the land and ride will be based on the animated classic. Disney Cruise Line is adding 4 new ships to their fleet between 2027 and 2031, bringing the total number of ships up to 13. Also in DCL news, the Destiny is getting a Hercules Broadway-style show in 2025. And the showcase audience saw a preview of the Taka puppet that will be used in the Disney The Tale of Moana show on the Disney Treasure. For both Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort, a Mandalorian and Grogu mission is coming to Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run in 2026. This coincides with the Mando and Grogu movie debuting. Focusing on Disneyland Resort, Disneyland Park is getting the first ever audio animatronic of Walt Disney. This will be in the Main Street Opera House in the show Walt Disney: A Magical Life. This will debut in 2025 and rotate with the current Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show. And we learned that Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland will open on November 15th of this year. Over at Disney California Adventure, we learned the new Avatar experience coming will be inspired by The Way of Water, Fire and Ash, and future Avatar films. We also got some updates on Avengers Campus. 2 attractions were announced, and Robert Downey Jr. is said to reprise his role as Tony Stark in the attractions. First, the long-awaited e-ticket attraction is officially called Avengers Infinity Defense. King Thanos is still the big bad, and you'll travel to iconic MCU locations with presumably a face-off with King Thanos as the climax. The second attraction announced, and 4th overall in the land, is Stark Flight Labs. You'll be in a 2-person pod that will whirl you in a simulated flight. And in other big news, DCA will be the home to the very first Coco-based ride. This attraction is said to be filled with characters and music. Over to Walt Disney World and starting with EPCOT. There's going to be a Spaceship Earth lounge set to open in 2025. And the reimagined test track is also opening in 2025. At Animal Kingdom, we learned more about the previously teased Tropical America's land. It will open in 2027, replacing Dinoland USA. The land will have a large fountain, plus a carousel ride with animals from Disney stories. Tropical Americas will feature 2 signature attractions, one from Encanto and one from Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones attraction will be a new story and not a clone from the Disneyland Resort attraction. It will be set in an ancient Mayan temple where Indy is searching for a mythical creature and guests go along for the ride. The Encanto ride is set in the Madrigal family home, Casita. You'll explore alongside Antonio just after he has received his gift of communication with animals and his room is transformed into a rainforest. Then, aside from Tropical Americas, Disney announced that the Tree of Life theater show replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug is called Zootopia, Better Zoogether, and opens next winter. Over in Hollywood Studios, aside from the Mando and Grogu Millennium Falcon mission, we got one big announcement. That's Monstropolis, a Monsters Inc. themed land, is coming. They are making the Door coaster inspired by the movie, which will be Disney's first suspended coaster. Construction is set to begin next year. And finally, for Magic Kingdom, we got quite a few big announcements. A small announcement, though, being the previously teased Pirate Lounge is going to open in 2025. On to bigger news. First, there's a nighttime parade coming called Disney Starlight in summer 2025. This will feature the Blue Fairy, Peter Pan, Encanto, Frozen, and more. Next, 2 Cars-themed attractions are coming to Frontierland. One will be a thrilling rally race through the mountains, and additional reporting has confirmed that this is not Radiator Springs from Disneyland Resort. The second attraction will be geared toward smaller racers and be fun for the whole family. Construction on this car space in Frontierland is set to begin in 2025. And perhaps the biggest news, seemingly the piece of news parks fans are most excited for, is Disney confirmed a Villains Land is coming, presumably beyond Big Thunder Mountain, but that's not 100% confirmed. This land will have 2 major attractions, dining and shopping. I do not believe we got a timeline for Villains Land, though reportedly construction has already started. That was a quick run through of the big announcements I wanted to highlight for you all. Again, if you want more information and links directly to the sources, check out my blog post on Ko-fi. Now let's segue into some things we don't know. We know a Coco ride is coming to Disney California Adventure, we just don't know where in Disney California Adventure. I personally am not up to speed enough on the layout of that park to even have an educated guess. Also, the concept art makes it look like a boat ride, but that is not yet confirmed. It's important to note that concept art is that, it's just a concept. It could absolutely change by the time we hit reality. The blog post referenced both Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion as Disney classics they're using for inspiration for the ride. One of those is a boat ride, one of those is not. Next, there's a lot of consternation about the Monsters, Inc. area coming to Hollywood Studios. Again, we know it's coming to Hollywood Studios, we don't know where in that park. Is it going to replace Muppet Vision? Is it going to replace the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular? Is it going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster and the Lightning Academy racing area back there? What about Star Wars Launch Bay? Do they have secret land that they're just gonna plop it in and nothing gets replaced? I personally suspect something is getting replaced. My preference would be the Launch Bay area. I think that is highly underutilized at the moment, but we'll probably just have to wait and see. Also, will this Monsters, Inc. area have anything other than the door coaster? Is it just going to be a single attraction in a themed land? Is one attraction in a themed area enough to call it a land? Or is there going to be shopping, dining, another small attraction? Are they gonna slot a meet and greet in there? The concept art looks like there might be a small playground, but again, it's just concept art. Also, the physics on that slide in the concept art look a little rough. Personally, I love Monsters, Inc., and while maybe I don't love lands being themed to a single IP, I do think just the nature of Monsters, Inc., like the doors can take you anywhere, means they could do a lot within that land if they wanted to expand it to really be a land and have multiple attractions, shopping, dining, all of that stuff. For now, all we know about, I'm pretty sure, is the door coaster. Moving over to Magic Kingdom, let's talk about the Pirate Lounge for a second. How is this gonna work? Is it just gonna be like Oga's Cantina, where it's like communal tables, you're always gonna be sat with other people? It's interesting to me that in the concept art, at least, it looks like there's a bar, but there's no bar stools. Can I just walk up and go sit at the bar? Am I gonna need a reservation? Like, I'm excited about it in principle, but I personally really don't love how Oga's is executed. I understand it from an operations standpoint, but it is tough when you're at one of those standing commuting tables, you're a party of 4, there's another party of 3, and then they try to come and squeeze another party of 3 in there. Like, it's just not good. It makes it so unenjoyable for me personally. So I hope they do not replicate the Oga's operational strategy for the Pirate Lounge, but we'll have to wait and see. Now let's also talk about Frontierland expansion. So we know the Cars attractions are going into Frontierland, but where? You can tell that assessing maps and stuff is not my strong suit. That's not a type of engineering I ever participated in my formal education. Also, a sentiment I've seen floating around the internet is if we're going to have basically 2 Cars rides in Frontierland, both kind of racing-esque rides, one more thrilling, one for the kiddos, what does that mean for Tomorrowland Speedway? I personally would be surprised if they got rid of the Speedway. I don't think it hurts to retain more rides and have more attractions to spread the crowds out on, but it's a valid point, honestly. Like, how many little car loop-de-loop rides do you want to have in the park, or could you use that land for something else? And obviously everyone's chomping at the bit to know more about Villains Land, especially considering apparently construction's already ongoing. What villains will be highlighted? What are the attractions? Me personally, I want to know if Chernabog is going to be represented somehow. I know that's like a weird niche thing to bring up, but he is like classic Disney villain to me, and I would love to see some sort of Chernabog Mountain either in the land itself or maybe in a dining location or in a ride. It's good to know though that that really will be a full land, 2 attractions, shopping and dining, and not just like, here is one ride. And another big question is over at the Animal Kingdom. We know that Dinosaur is closing this fall, but what do they mean by fall? The Halloween parties are already happening at Magic Kingdom, so according to Walt Disney World, we're already in fall vibes. Is a fall closing of Dinosaur in a couple weeks? Is it in late September? Is it in early December? Obviously, people are anxious to know if their next trip, they'll be able to say goodbye to Dinosaur or not. There are plenty of other questions I've seen floating around. Obviously, big announcements like this leave a lot of room for speculation and wondering. Let me know what your big questions are in the comments down below. And of course, the Parks and Experiences panel didn't highlight every single thing that folks were hoping to hear about. Notably, I think for a lot of people though, we didn't really hear anything about Tomorrowland on either coast. A lot of people were hoping for a Tomorrowland refresh, maybe a full retheming, reimagining, and right now it looks like Tomorrowland is just gonna hang out as is. Another thing that seems to still be on the chopping block was ages ago they had announced that Spaceship Earth would be getting a refurb, and we didn't hear anything about that. People love the classic ride, but it probably could use some TLC, honestly. And personally, I was not expecting to hear about this topic in the Parks and Experiences Showcase, but I know a lot of people were hoping to hear about hotels, resorts, and/or Disney Vacation Club. We did not get a single mention of anything in that realm. And that's just a few highlights off the top of my head. Again, of course, there's tons of things that they did not touch on. Was there a big announcement you were hoping for that got totally shafted? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know how you're feeling about all these announcements. What are you most excited for? What are you trepidatious about? Personally, I am really excited for the door coaster. I know a lot of us have been clamoring for that for literally more than 20 years now. By the time it's built and operational, it might even be 25 years since the movie came out. So to finally be able to experience that in real life is awesome. I'm also pretty happy about the fact that the Tropical America's Land and the Villains Land are not tied to a single IP. No disrespect to single IPs, I just personally prefer lands that give you a little bit more room to play around with different IPs within the same themed area. I'm also really stoked about a nighttime parade coming to Magic Kingdom. As an adult going to the parks, I don't think I've ever seen like a normal parade at night. By normal, I mean I have paid to go to themed parties, so the Halloween party and the Christmas party, and then you get a night parade. But if you don't have that extra ticket, like if you're just going to the Magic Kingdom during the day, I don't think there's been a nighttime parade there in quite a long time. I probably saw it as a kid, but I have no recollection, so really looking forward to seeing a nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom. That being said, I am a little bit concerned about logistics and traffic flow for nighttime parade crowds, followed by presumably still fireworks crowds, but that's something for ops to figure out, and yeah, hopefully they can figure out how to make that smooth. And I am thrilled to see Encanto represented in these plans, but it's perhaps not my favorite option. I would have rather seen Casita probably go in Magic Kingdom, and then the ride is you're going through all the rooms and all the characters. Because it's in the Animal Kingdom, they have rightfully focused on Antonio to make it animal themed, which again, like for the choice of putting it in Animal Kingdom, that's correct. And I'm sure you'll still encounter the other characters in the ride, and maybe the queue winds through the other rooms in the house, but I don't know, it feels a little bit like a missed opportunity to me, and like they shoot it in to Animal Kingdom for whatever reason. I am filming this midday on August 11th, so I haven't even had 24 hours for all of this news like marinate in my brain. I usually take a little bit longer to form my opinions. And regardless, honestly, all of this is subject to change. Yes, they made these announcements and kind of hard commitments, but, you know, concept art's only concept art, details can change. Especially when the budget is concerned, and just given the volume of things they announced, this isn't gonna be cheap. I can't even imagine how much the 4 cruise ships are gonna cost on their own, much less anything for the parks. But at least for now, just one sleep removed from the announcements, I'm feeling pretty happy about this D23 Parks and Experiences Showcase. It was way more concrete than I was expecting, and yes, they did rehash some things we basically already knew, but we did get some genuinely new announcements too. Thank you for watching, and if you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, please remember to like the video. And if you're new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's totally free for you and really helps me out. And then you can ring the bell icon to receive a notification whenever I upload new videos. And like I mentioned at the top of this video, if you want your news a little bit faster, follow me over on Ko-fi. It takes me considerably less time to pump out a blog post over there than do a whole video on YouTube. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and I can't wait for our conversations. I'm sure it will stir up some ideas in my brain too. Thank you again for supporting me in this channel. I really appreciate it. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.